Alright guys, let's go back to 2016, a time before the train wreck that was the pandemic. A time where Stranger Things only had one season, Hamilton had just hit Broadway, and Vine was still alive and kicking. At that time I was just entering college and starting to navigate how to be an adult. It was also the time where I made the mistake of downloading a game on my phone that I can positively say caused me to have the whack sleeping patterns that I have still to this day. And that game was Mystic Messenger. For those who don't know, Mystic Messenger is a South Korean mobile otome game that was developed by Cherits. Now, you may be wondering, okay, so it's a dating sim for your phone? Big deal. What makes it so special? Shh. I was getting to that. You see, it has one game mechanic up its sleeve that makes it unique compared to the other otome games on the market. And that mechanic would be that it takes place in real time. During the lapse of 11 days, you'll be able to join chat rooms to talk with the characters, get phone calls from them, and even call them back. Pretty much, it's made to make the game 10 times more immersive for players. But what's the game about? Well, the game is about you, who just downloaded the app. Yeah, I know, meta. Then right after that, you receive a message from someone using the username unknown. They just found a lost phone, and they need your help to find the owner. Does it sound shady? You could absolutely say so. Are you going to leave after seeing the blatant red flags?
No, I don't think I will.
One thing leads to another, and you find yourself breaking and entering into the apartment of the phone's owner. But before you can leave, you are transferred into another chat room, this time filled with the main cast of love interest. Yoosung Kim, Zen, Jaehee Kang, Jumin Han, and 707. After explaining the situation you're in, they explain to you that they're part of a charity organization called the RFA. This organization was founded by a woman named Rika, who also owned the apartment you're standing in. But if you ever wanted to get answers out of her, well, you're kind of out of luck, since she passed away 2 years ago due to suicide. Ever since then, the RFA has been at a standstill, with Rika's fiancé V taking over as leader. Though it is stated how shady it is that you managed to enter the app in the first place, once to make sure you're harmless, V starts thinking that there's probably a good reason you've been sent to that apartment in the first place. Maybe it is even Rika herself that wanted to make you her successor of sorts. In the end, V ends up asking you to fill Rika's role in the organization to help everyone host a new charity party. A party that you have to organize in 11 days. And while you do that, you'll get the chance to chat and hopefully get closer to your love interest of choice. While in the background, the mystery of Unknown's identity and the secrets hidden by Rika are slowly revealed. So that's it? I just email people? Well, yes and no. Over the next 11 days, you'll be presented with potential guests by the other members in the chat rooms. It's pretty much up to you if you want to invite them or not. But once you first email the guest, you'll have to email them back and forth 3 times and pick the right dialogue choices to convince them to come to the party in the first place. Also know that if you don't invite enough people, you're not gonna get a good ending. But if you invite at least 10, you're gonna be good. Then there's the dating sim aspect. Every day, chat rooms will be available to join to gain affection points for the characters you want. Usually there's one every hour or so. Now that sounds cool and that means you're gonna get content during the whole day, but that also means that sometimes there's gonna be chat rooms at like midnight or even 3 AM. Sure, you can use hourglasses to unlock the chat rooms you missed, but if you're free to play and you wanna see every single last one of them, you're gonna have to lose some sleep. I did say earlier that this game was responsible for me having a whack sleeping schedule. That's because while I was playing it, I had actually set a freaking alarm at 3 AM to check the chat rooms, while I had classes the next morning.
I don't need sleep, I need
Mystic Messenger.
But anyway, then after day 4, the game is gonna check which character you got the most hearts for, and on day 5, you're gonna be on their route. If not, well, you'll get a bad ending and I can officially say that you're bad at the game. Another thing to note is that the cast is separated into groups. The casual mode, which includes Yoosung, Zen, and Jaehee, that is unlocked from the start, and the deep story mode including Jumin and 707, which will need to be unlocked using them sweet hourglasses. Wait, hourglasses? What are those? I keep mentioning them, but what do they do? Well, You see, my sweet summer child, our glasses are the currency of the game that unlock extra content. The more you have, the more you can assert your dominance over the other MC peasants. You can get them during the routes by picking certain dialogue choices, or you can also buy them in the shop if you don't want to wait or replay the prologue for like 10 times in a row. Anyway, let's talk about the characters and their routes. Zen is a musical actor, singer, and dancer that cares a lot about his looks, to the point where he can come across as a narcissist. He's also by far the most flirtatious out of all characters towards the MC, even when you're not in his route. So that's great if you're desperate for hourglasses. His route is also one of the easiest to get. Pretty much all you need to do is flirt back, be nice to him and compliment his looks, and boom, you're in. By day 5, you'll get instantly closer to Zen, pretty much getting into somewhat of a relationship. This, however, worries Jaehee, who is also a big fan of Zen. She thinks that the relationship could potentially ruin Zen's career if it were to come to light. And seeing how some people can act towards their idols, I can understand her worries. Though it hurts me when you push me away, girl. Just let me be friends with you. Around the same time, Zen is offered to work on a project with a famous idol called Echo Girl, which would boost his popularity even more. Or he could do a cat food commercial for Jumin's company, which he immediately refuses.
Man, he didn't even think about it.
Yeah, he and Jumin don't really get along. On the 7th day, Zen ends up hurting his ankle, causing him to get depressed because this man's a workaholic. So the RFA agrees to send you to his place to cheer him up. You two even end up stargazing, and Zen even opens up to you about his past. But right now this route is too drama-free. We need something to cause some trouble in the plot. That'll do. Right after you leave, Echo Girl shows up and tries to woo Zen, but this man has already devoted himself to his queen, and he ends up sending her away to the streets where she belongs. This causes her to decide to ruin Zen's career by accusing him of having sexually assaulted her.
Excuse me, what?
Know your fucking place, trash!
The accusations and everything causes Zen to shut down, and all of the RFA decides to start looking for proof of his innocence. We even get a nice scene between him and Jumin where they open up to one another. He even accepts his offer to star in another commercial for his company. So everything seems to get better, right? Oh, hi, Unknown. Yeah, y'all forgot about the overall plot, huh? On day 10, 7 tells us that our good old friend Unknown hacked the RFA defense system and that we are most likely in danger. These fears are then proven right when Unknown breaks into the apartment to take you away. But luckily Zen comes to your rescue like a knight in shining armor after 7 gave him the address to the apartment. After your dramatic escape, you decide to take shelter at Zen's apartment, where you two finally become official. And finally, you even get Jaehee's blessing for the relationship. Then, the day of the party arrives, and depending on your choices, you'll get one of the different endings. If you're too indifferent or hostile towards Zen and the RFA, you'll get a bad ending on day 7, in which you and Zen get into a secret relationship, but a very unhealthy one. If you focus on telling Zen to forget about his career and only focus on you, you'll get a bad end on day 9, in which Zen is unable to clear his name and his career crashes. If you don't trust 7 and the RFA concerning the unknown situation on day 10, well, you'll get kidnapped. And if you don't invite enough people to the party, you'll get the normal ending in which Zen does clear his name, but decides to keep his relationship with you a secret to keep his private and professional life separate. But if you played your cards right and invited enough people to the party, you should get a good ending. In it, Zen also cleared his name at the party in an honest speech, and thanks to the proofs the other RFA members provided. He even ends up revealing that the two of you are in a relationship and even claim his love for you for all to see.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, at first I didn't really like Zen. He seemed one note and his route didn't really have any, like any of the spice the others have.
That is blasphemous! That is blasphemous!
But now that I think about it, I think his run is fine. And I grew to actually like his character more. Sure, he's not my favorite out of the bunch, but he's fine. His route also doesn't have much to do with the encompassing story of who Unknown is and what happened to Rika. Instead, it focuses more on Zen's professional life and career. So if you want some lore, this one ain't for you. But if you want a route where you'll find a partner that will treat you like a queen and a story where love conquers all, well, this route's for you. Overall, I think Zen's a good starting point to get into Mystic Messenger. You won't get hit with all the lore at once, and you'll get a sweet romance with a guy that follows his dream and will keep you safe. Also, a bunch of hourglasses for further usage. Jaehee Kang is the chief secretary of CNR International Company and is Jumin's assistant, which means that not only she has to do a lot of work, but she also has to babysit Jumin's cat, Elizabeth III. She's extremely hardworking and also extremely overworked. And as stated in Zen's route, she's one of his biggest fans. So, if you feel like fangirling respectfully with her, go right ahead. Now you may be wondering, wait a minute, I can date a girl in the game? Well, yes and no. Even if Jaehee's route is one that you can pick, it's technically more of a friendship route than a romance one.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Around day 5, Jumin will decide to embark into a cat hotel project, and of course, Jaehee is charged with doing all the work and research for presenting said project to the company. During said time, you can give her your emotional support, which she will greatly appreciate. Yeah, just like in Zen's route, where you may dislike Jaehee because of how she acts, in this one, you'll probably dislike Jumin. At the same time, Seven informs the chat that the RFA has been hacked by her friend unknown, and Jumin sends bodyguards to every member of the RFA for protection. Well, every member except us, because the address of the apartment must stay a secret. On the 6th day, Zen still hurts his ankle just like during his route, but this time, it's Jaehee that goes to cheer him up instead of us with her encouragement. But that small moment of relaxation is interrupted when, again, Jumin demands that Jaehee not only research for the cat project, but on a coffee one as well.
What more do you want from me?
Though this reveals to be a blessing in disguise, since it turns out that Jaehee finds the topping of coffee making quite interesting. But when she proposes to Jumin that maybe focusing on the coffee project would be more profitable to the company than the cat one, he immediately shuts her down. So now everyone is worried about Jaehee's health, except Jumin, who doesn't see anything wrong with it. But after some persuasion, you and the rest of the RFA tells her to follow her gut and continue to work on the coffee project in secret. In the meantime, Seven actually decides to do a whole PowerPoint presentation for the cat project and proposes to give it to Jaehee to present. Though it does look very questionable and unprofessional because, Seven did it.
Fuck it.
You know what? Let's use it. On day 9, Jaehee slays the presentation about the cat project with Seven's PowerPoint, but when it's decided to pick another cat to be the mascot of said project instead of Jumin's cat Elizabeth III, this leaves Jumin too stunned to speak. Okay, Jumin may be angry with this, but I'm sure that after explaining to him that it would be more profitable to pick a famous cat as a mascot instead of an unknown, yet gorgeous, cat for the company, I'm sure he's gonna understand, right?
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, Jumin decides to fire Jaehee. Even if she literally carried his ass through thick and thin! But at the same time, now Jaehee is free to follow her own dreams. So I guess it's actually good news? But wait, we haven't actually heard from our friend unknown for a while. What could he be doing? Well, while you and Zen are Jaehee's personal cheering squad, V is taking care of the matter behind the scenes with Seven's aid. Yeah, Jaehee's route has even less to do with the hacker storyline. The only thing it really reveals is that V knows way more than everyone thinks. Now the bad endings you may get. On day 7, if you convince Jaehee to not go see Zen, since she's got a lot of work to do, and that you should be the one to go visit him, you will end up in a relationship with Zen, but arrive at a dead end with Jaehee. If you tell Jaehee to only focus on her work and only her work, she will eventually collapse out of exhaustion and leave her job on her own, thinking that she can't do it right anymore. And if you take Jumin's side way too much, after he ends up firing Jaehee, he will actually hire you instead to be his assistant, setting you up for years of lost sleep and overwork. And if you don't invite enough people to the party, you'll get cornered by both Jumin and Jaehee, who both want your support for their respective future projects. Upon the good ending, Jaehee thanks you for your support and how much you and your friendship means to her at the party, in a pretty cute and touching scene. Your encouragement even pushed her to finally open her own small business, a bakery, and she asks you if you would want to be her partner in this new chapter of her life. I mean, come on, Your Honor, I'm telling you, they are gay for one another. I rest my case. Now, you may think that this route doesn't have much to offer since there's zero romance in it, and it doesn't have any link whatsoever to the main storyline of the game. But I would disagree, because you see, sometimes the strong bonds of a blossoming friendship are as beautiful as the sparks of a new romance. Her route is also the most normal of all of the others. Like, Jaehee is always respectful towards the MC and sees you for who you are, not putting you on a pedestal, showing no possessiveness, and she never tries to change who you are. So if you're looking for something more chill, her route is the way to go. Overall, Jaehee's route is nice if you want to change things up and experience a precious friendship. Yoosung Kim is the youngest member of the RFA. He's a university student that also spends way too much time playing a game called LOL, which is pretty much a League of Legends of the Mystic Messenger universe. He's also pretty naive and often the victim of 7's pranks. Basically, he's the baby of the group, but he's not someone to completely underestimate. Now, his route, compared to Zen and Jaehee's, has more to do with the bigger story and lore since Yoosung is Rika's cousin. It's stated pretty early that he admired her a lot and that her death still affects him deeply. He never understood why Rika would commit suicide, and since she always seemed so happy every time he saw her. So, one day he ended up asking V for answers since he was Rika's fiancé and probably knew more than everyone else. But every time he would only apologize and cut the discussion short. All of this left Yoosung in the dark, and he actually started to mistrust V more than anything else. On day 5, you'll instantly start to grow a very close bond with Yoosung. He's also the one that will call you the most out of everyone, nearly after every chat room. You'll also notice very quickly that he'll often start to compare you to Rika. Not in a bad way, it's more like his admiration for her transferred onto you. You became the new shining light in his life that motivates him to study more and overall become a better person. But that doesn't change the fact that he keeps comparing you to his dead cousin.
Rika.
Will you please listen? I am not.
Rika.
Do you understand? Honestly.
Only the truth.
Rika.
The nice.
Being just like Rika.
What?
Yeah, Yoosung has some issues. Not counting the dead cousin thing, Yoosung can be pretty possessive. When he notices that you pay more attention to other RFA members, or when others, Zen, flirts with you, he'll start to get pretty angry. Though he is self-aware about how this is a bad thing. But oh, it won't get better. Since on day 7, the overall plot comes knocking at the door. 7 gives us more information about who our friend unknown is working for, an organization called Mintai. But we'll learn more about them in his route. Oh, also 7 tells us another information about Rika's apartment. Turns out that inside of it, there's some pretty confidential documents about the RFA that should not fall into random people's hands. So when she was alive, Rika thought of a brilliant plan to make sure no intruder would get to them. Could it be that she hid them in a safe place with a code only she knows? Or maybe she installed a bomb that would explode the minute someone unauthorized was to enter the apartment, making everything go boom.
Nani?
And this bomb is now very much active, and now no one can get in the apartment or out of it. Yeah, it's kind of a bombshell of an info. No pun intended. Funny enough, that's actually kind of a good thing, since as long as the bomb is active, unknown won't try to break in and go after you. But still, living next to a bomb is not good for anyone's stress levels. This makes everyone in the RFA panic, especially Yoosung. He just wants to rush the apartment to keep you safe, since he doesn't want to lose you like Rika. But he can't really do anything but hope 7 disarms the bomb and takes care of the hiker problem soon. This unfortunately caused them to blame V even more for everything that's happening, since he knew from the beginning that there was a bomb in the apartment, but he let you stay in anyway. Speaking of V, he does eventually tell us more about Rika. Turns out she was actually suffering from mental health issues, which eventually caused her to go on a downward spiral. Even though she looked stable from the outside. Said downward spiral even caused her to hurt V's eyes, leaving him almost blind. This completely shatters Yoosung's image of Rika, and for a while, he's gonna go into an existential crisis. And I mean, That's understandable for him to have to take some time to accept all of this. The person he admired the most in the world, well, wasn't the perfect image he had in his head and actually did some pretty bad things to others. Now, depending on how you acted up to that moment, you may get a bad end. If you keep encouraging Yoosung to see you as a replacement for Rika, he will actually start to believe that you are Rika and distrust the rest of the RFA. This leaves his yandere tendencies to go unchecked, and once the news of the bombs drop, Yoosung decides to find the address of the apartment and enter it to save you, making the apartment and both of you go boom. But if you stay understanding and maintain that you are not Rika, Yoosung will go through what we call some of that good character development. Unlike the two previous routes, where Zen and Jaehee mostly stay the same, Yoosung will go from a naive young cinnamon roll to a more confident, mature, but still sweet cinnamon roll, which now loves you as your own person instead of a replacement for his cousin. He'll even patch things up with V, to a certain degree. And while all of this is going on, the rest of the RFA is also dealing with their own problems. Zen is being harassed by a stalker outside of his home, which may be linked to Mintai, and Jaehee even receives a mysterious email from them. This, however, turns out to be the key for Seven to track them back to their hideout, and he plans to sneak in to investigate. You know, because he's not an international super spy. Wanting to protect us, Yoosung also decides to tag along, but not having one last chat with us, asking us out officially, and this was so cute! Now for the possible endings. We've already gone through the yandere ending on day 7, but if you keep panicking about your safety and convince Yoosung to protect you at all costs, even to the detriment of his own safety, things are not gonna end well on the mission during day 10. During the investigation, Seven and Yoosung will meet with Unknown, who threatens to detonate the bomb in Rika's apartment and another one located at the Mintai base, killing everyone in the process. Yoosung manages to distract Unknown long enough for Seven to grab the switch and make a run for it, but unfortunately Yoosung is taken away, pretty much destined to live a miserable life, being Unknown's new pet, unable to do anything or else Unknown will kill you. But if you told Yoosung to come back safely to you, he will manage to escape with Seven, but not without injuries. If you get a normal ending, Yoosung won't be able to meet you at the RFA party, but you'll be able to see him at the hospital. But on a good ending, after meeting the rest of the RFA, you will finally meet Yoosung face to face and get your deserved happy ending. Overall, Yoosung is a really sweet boy that would do anything to make you happy. Just be prepared for the roller coaster of emotions towards the end. Alright, now we're getting into the deep story, which you need to unlock with hourglasses. But by playing the full casual routes plus the prologue, you should have saved enough. Or you were too impatient and swapped your card to get it early. Jumin Han is the rich heir to the CNR International Company and also, as you've seen in the casual route, Jaehee's boss. He's also a close fan of V since they grew up together. He also has a cat named Elizabeth III that he treats like his little baby, and I mean, what cat parent doesn't treat their own cats as their little fur babies? Also in the beginning, Jumin is the RFA member that's the most wary of us joining the organization in the first place. But he does accept V's decision to have us join, but not without stressing to us how important it is that we work on the party. Eventually though, he does soften up and sees that we have good intentions, and if you've gained enough affection points with him, you will enter his route by day 5. At this point, you two will start to talk far more frequently, with other characters noting how nicer Jumin is when talking to you compared to the other members of the RFA. Around this time, Jumin's father will also tell him that he plans to marry an actress named Glam Choi. This is no good in Jumin's mind, since it's not the first time he saw a similar scenario happen. A young woman appears on the scene, entering a relationship with his father only for them to be only interested in the money and status he could offer them.
But wait! There's more!
Glam Choi has a protege named Sarah, and she proposes an arranged marriage between her and Jumin. This turns the conversation and relationship between father and son sour, and Jumin leaves to go rant in the messenger about it. So yeah, we got not only one but 2 Echo girls to deal with on this route.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Jumin does confide in you about his past and how, even though he loves his father, he wished he could see how many of the women that fake interest in him are manipulating him behind the scenes for his money. But he does reassure you that he doesn't see you as one of these women. Some would say you're not like the other girls. Later, Zen has a psychic dream. Yeah, Zen has psychic dreams. Forgot to mention that earlier. Where he sees Elizabeth III being stuck in a creepy building in the mountains. Usually, most people would consider this a random event of no importance, but not Jumin. This is actually the moment where his mental states start to go downhill. Jumin can't imagine the idea of losing his cat, and he becomes paranoid to the point of locking her in a cage. He also stops showing up to work, leaving Jaehee to do all his duties in his place. Man, give this girl a break already, goddamn! To cheer him up and also convince him to go back to work, Jaehee and Seven suggest that you should go visit him. When you do, Jumin is shocked, but it's quickly evident that he's very happy to see you here. Around the same time, Seven reveals more info about the hacker situation to the other members, and how he's after the RFA. The next day, you even manage to convince Jumin to let Elizabeth III out of her cage, but as he introduces us to the head of security of his penthouse, the door is left slightly open and Elizabeth escapes. This causes Jumin to feel betrayed that his precious cat would dare leave his side, and his anxiety goes up the roof. You want to stay and look for her, but eventually you gotta leave to continue working on the party. I mean, these guests are not going to invite themselves. But every time you talk about your desire to leave, Jumin always finds an excuse to make you stay. To the point of even flat out refusing to let you go, as your presence slowly replaces the one of Elizabeth III in his life.
I'm in danger!
So while you're pretty much being held hostage in Jumin's apartment, rumors are starting to be leaked to the press about Jumin's and Sarah's engagement. I wonder who could be responsible for this. But for the time being, we have more pressing matters to worry about. You can try to convince Jumin to let you go, but every time he presses that his penthouse is the only safe place in the world, and that if you were to leave, he would go as far as send wanted ads all over the country until he found you. Though Jumin is self-aware that his actions are wrong to a certain degree, just like how Yoosung was self-aware that his possessiveness was wrong in his route. He does truly love you and he wants to be a better person for you, but because of his anxiety and inability to deal with his emotions, he can't let you go. Then everything goes from bad to worse when Sarah shows up unannounced in the apartment saying she found Elizabeth III. But when she shows the picture of the cat she found, it's clear she's lying. And once she does notice you, she goes off, insulting you, putting you down by saying that you're not worthy of Jumin because you're a peasant. Jumin does tell Sarah to leave, but when she flat out refuses, saying that she's his fiancée, he decides to send her a more direct message.
Hot or spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
At this point, depending on how you've handled your forced stay at Jumin's house and his growing obsession with you, you may get a bad ending. On day 8, if you've been indulging in Jumin's possessive nature, you will enter one of the most infamous bad ends in Mystic Messenger's history. The one, the only, 50 Shades ending, where Jumin puts a tracking device on you, ties you up, and promises to never let you escape the penthouse.
Holy moly.
But if you've been supportive of Jumin's needs to have someone here with him, while keeping your boundaries and calling out his behavior, Jumin will slowly start to accept that he can't keep you locked in his house, and he does change his ways. At the same time, the same plot of Yoosung and Seven going to the Mintai HQ happens. But this time, instead of finding on loan, they find Elizabeth III, just like Zen's dreams predicted. Having Elizabeth finally back with him is the thing that finally makes Jumin let you go. Deeply regretful of how he acted towards you and hoping that in the future you may love each other as equals. Now for the bad endings. We've already gone through the spicy end where you are enjoying your new life as a new living pet for Mr. Han, but if on the contrary you act very hostile towards and reject Jumin at every turn, you'll be confronted by him on day 10, with him asking you if you lost interest in him. Before you can answer, V arrives and starts an argument with Jumin on how he won't let you leave. When it's made pretty clear that Jumin will never let you go, you try to escape through a window, but...
I don't have any. Oh my god! Oh jeez! Oh my god! Oh jeez!
In the good ending, you get to meet everyone in the party and everything is going well. But once everyone notices that Jumin invited his father, Glam Choi, Sarah, and a bunch of reporters, everyone is confused. But don't worry, Mr. Trust Fund Kid got a plan. While going on the speech that everyone expects is going to be about his engagement to Sarah, Jumin reveals that he's been looking into her and Glam's past on the side with the aid of Seven and Jaehee's. He then proceeds to expose the two of them as not teacher and protege, but as sisters who plan to marry into the Han family because of their failed business. This finally opens up the eyes of his father and he breaks things off with Glam, and the two gold digger snakes leave the party in shame. With the Sarah problem solved and his father free from Glam, Jumin goes to you, gets on one knee, and asks for your hand in marriage. Remember that you've met this man only 11 days ago.
Fuck it.
In a normal ending, if you don't invite enough people to the party, everything is pretty similar except that during the announcement to the reporters, Jumin doesn't reveal that you're his girlfriend and instead resigns from the company. Overall, Jumin's route is mostly its own self-contained story, like Jaehee's and Zen's routes. It has some problematic aspects which may put off some people with the way Jumin acts towards the MC being borderline abuse behavior, but if you just want to experience a soap opera fantasy, well, this one would be for you. And finally, we have arrived to the last route in the deep story, the one that will give you the answers you're looking for regarding the overall plot of Unknown and Mintai. The route of everyone's favorite crackhead hacker.
Here comes the boy. Hello, boy. Welcome. There he is. He is here.
He's a happy-go-lucky hacker with a weird personality and an aura of mystery since nothing about his true identity is known. But he's a good guy and often gets into funny shenanigans, like pranking Yoosung. Like the other routes, on days 5, if you get enough affection points, you and Seven will start to grow closer. You guys talk more and it's evident that Seven likes you. He even starts to get distracted at his work because of his feelings. You'll also learn more about Vanderwood, a character that was mentioned earlier in the other routes by Seven as his maid, who is actually revealed to be his superior. You'll also learn more about Seven's job and how it's maybe a little bit more dangerous than everyone thinks. On the 5th day, the messenger still gets hacked, but not all the members of the RFA receives mysterious emails, except for you at 7. This time, Unknown is acting way faster than the other routes, even managing to hack the security system of Rika's apartment by the end of day 6. This doesn't go unnoticed by 7, however, and he becomes frantic, grabs all his stuff, and starts to drive towards Rika's apartment, ignoring Vanderwood's demands for him to stay and finish his job. The next day, in the evening, Unknown breaks in, but before he can do anything, 7 reaches you in time. Now, do you remember in Yoosung route how Unknown says how he despises 7 for something he did to him? Well, now we finally get the answer to that question. Unknown is actually 7's twin brother called Seran.
Wait a damn minute.
This shocks 7, but before anyone can get more answers, the security system of the apartment restarts, and to prevent everything going boom, Seran has to leave, swearing to get his payback later. After that encounter, 7 comes clean on the messenger and the other members about some things, like the fact that he was the one who installed the bomb in Rika's apartment per her demand. For your safety, he decides to stay with you for the time being, and it is at this very moment where you'll start the
Emotional damage
side of the route. Remember all the cute and funny moments you had with 7? Well, now that's over. All that was just a facade. When you try to give your support to 7, he's quick to shut you down by telling you that you're bothering him with his work and by saying some kind of mean things. But he does ask you to not tell the rest of the RFA about Seran for the moment being. Though, don't try to ask questions about him because you'll just hit a brick wall. Sure, it's pretty clear that the reason he's acting distant and kinda hostile is because he wants to protect you from the danger he may put you in if you get closer, but goddamn, the pain is real! Eventually, V shows up on the messenger thanks to Jumin, telling him to get his ass in here ASAP. But when 7 corners him about what the hell happened to his brother since Seran was supposedly in his and Rika's care, he dodges the questions. He does ask 7 if 7 and us snooped around any of the documents in the apartment, asking that no one touches them. Overall, the conversation ends pretty badly, with 7 losing trust in V, and I mean, my man ain't helping his case. The rest of the RFA is also disappointed in its leader's actions, and everything go even worse when 7 decides to simply quit the RFA, since his job puts everyone at risk. This surprises everyone and especially affects Yoosung. So yeah, things look bleak. But eventually our favorite defender of justice does open up to us about his past. How terrible his mother's abuse was on both him and his brother, though Saren got the most of it. How he started training his hacking abilities to provide a better future for his brother and himself. How he met Vi and Rika as a child and how they offered him to join them as a secret agent. However, while he was working as an informant, he couldn't bring Saren with him since he was supposed to cut ties with everything in his past. Though Rika promised to take care of him, she even secretly sent him pictures of his happy brother throughout the years that he kept in a floppy disk. But for now, 7 mostly reconciles with his past and his cheerful self slowly comes back. That's great, 7! But now you better go back and apologize to my baby Yoosung for making him sadder than he already is. Though even if things starts to look up, something is still wrong. If Rika promised to take care of Saren, why would he turn out the way he is, hating his own brother and the RFA, Rika's own organization? I mean, we all knew Rika and Vi were hiding some things, but the only way to find out what it is to look in the confidential documents in the apartment and disobey Vi's orders. But come on, how bad these documents can be? Oh, that's right, Rika's the one that actually created Mintai. Needless to say, that leaves everyone shooked. Yeah, another bombshell to add to the list of this route. But now 7 is more determined than ever to find out what the hell happened to his brother. So now it's time to hatch a plan to infiltrate the Mintai headquarters. On day 10, you and 7 manage to get in, and he starts to hack into the building's computers, only to be caught red-handed by Saren. 7 does try to explain the truth, how he never meant to leave him, and how Rika sent him pictures making him think that she was supposedly taking care of him, but it's useless. Even showing the contents of the floppy disk containing said picture does nothing. Saren is in denial, maintaining that he left him with her abusive mother and how his savior was the only one to save him from that hell. Who's that savior? Well, I mean, I think it's pretty evident who it is by now. But this confrontation causes Saren to break down and he flees the scene, leaving you and 7 locked in the computer room. Though he doesn't go far since Vanderwood, who came to fetch 7 for pretty much deserting his job, kidnaps and takes Saren away. Once you and 7 arrive outside, it's too late. Both Saren and Vanderwood are gone. But wait, V's here! And even though 7 doesn't trust him one bit, he does listen to what he has to say. V also announces to the RFA that he will be stepping down as leader of the organization, letting Jumin take his place since he has some unfinished business to take care of. Now for the bad endings. If you only act seriously towards 7, when Saren breaks in, he'll take you away before 7 arrives to help. If you never take 7 seriously and only engages in his playfulness on day 9, 7 will simply break under the pressure and lose hope that Saren can be saved. This caused him to run away with you to live in a different country, close to the sea, where it's pretty much implied you two die in a car accident. Yeah, this is the Depresso Espresso ending. But if you get a good ending, on day 11, you and 7 will not show up to the party, opting to go after Saren and Vanderwood instead. He also tells you his real name, Seyang. With both of his sides, 707 and Luciel, reconciled, and with you by his side, he's ready to overcome his past demons and hopefully save his brother. But before we end this part, I want to talk about one more thing about our favorite boy. And that is a certain sad theory concerning him. You may have noticed many times during the game that Seyang breaks the fourth wall. A lot. That could be a fun theory on its own, but the thing that makes it so sad is that no matter which route you pick, Seyang will always fall in love with you. There are some hints confirming this in the casual route, but it's pretty evident in the deep story mode, where if you pick Jumin instead of him, you get treated to this call.
아니요, 틀렸습니다. 역시 님은 차기 회장님 맘만 알아주네요. 다 필요 없어. 쿠쿠 다수처럼 가녀린 내 마음 이미 쿠쿠 다수처럼 부서지고 말았어. 아, 불쌍한 쿠쿠 다수. 내가 먹어줄게. 내 뱃속에서 친구들을 만나렴. 쿠쿠 쿠쿠. 아.
So yeah, now you will live with the fact that every time you reset the game, Seong never forgets, and he knows that deep down his happy ending with you will never last forever. Even if you do get married at the space station, it only takes one touch of a button for everything to disappear.
Why must you hurt me in this way?
Mystic Messenger.
So yeah, I recommend you play Seong's route last before you live with that guilt. After you do all of the routes, you'll be able to unlock the after story. They consist of 14 episodes that are strictly visual novels that close out the whole stories following Seong's route. They do need a lot of hourglasses to unlock though. As for myself, now I'll try to catch up on all the sleep this game stole from me. Though I'm kinda curious to see what Chariots is up to these days. Wouldn't hurt to take a look.
No! 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 No!
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Hey there, my buddy chum pal friend buddy pals. I know it's been a while since I posted, but in my defense, I got sick and only recently managed to escape the work jail. Hopefully the next video won't take so long to make. Also, I just want to thank everyone for 1K subs. That's just really amazing, and I hope I'll be able to bring you guys many other videos to entertain everyone. With that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening, and until next time, see ya!